Why visit Manchester? Well, first of all, it's very business friendly, which means it has a great infrastructure with roads and ports. It has a very good educational environment, including a lot of universities, such as Manchester University, but also schools, which include boys' schools like Manchester Grammar School, and also girls' schools. Furthermore, it has a great sport culture, which include the two teams Manchester City and Manchester United. It's also very resource strong, including a great workforce. To understand why Manchester looked like it does today, you have to look at the historical events.
The Industrial Revolution was a period that started in the later part of the 17th century. In this period happened great changes in agriculture, mass production, mining, and transport. Manchester had a head start from the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. They had colonies which contributed to the financial profits and resources. Furthermore, they had great workforce, in which I mean they had many people compared to land area. They also had agricultural revolution which freed a lot of workers. Manchester also had a lot of inventions such as steam engines and automatic spinning machine, spinning Jenny. Furthermore, Manchester created a lot of mills which peaked in 1853 when they had 108 mills. They also have great emergence of natural resources such as coal and hydropower, which gave excellent opportunities for cotton production. This led to Manchester being Britain's and later the world's center for textile processing and resale. Manchester became rich due to their status in the early part of the Industrial Revolution. This could be seen through the implementation of the telephone system based on Bell's inventions. In addition, many educational institutions were created, for example, Manchester University. Historic buildings were also constructed, including council-related buildings.
This was one of the buildings that were built during this period. It's called the Town Hall, and back then it was the city central of Manchester.
Large population growth resulted in construction of many terraced houses.
These houses can be found all over Manchester, and this is a solution to the increasing population in Manchester. These houses are very ergonomic, and therefore you can fit many people into small space.
Manchester's wealth was limited due to the dependence of Liverpool Port, which demanded many expenses. Therefore, Manchester created their own canal and port called Manchester Ship Canal, and in 1894 it was Manchester's third most visited port. Manchester's wealth grew due to Manchester Ship Canal, and this meant that many companies moved to the city, including Ford in the early 19th century. In 1930 came the financial crisis, and it hit the industrial city of Manchester hard. The cotton production fell due to the buying countries now processed the cotton themselves. Manchester tried to expand and modernize the city, including the expansion of the town hall in 1930, but the population decreased. But in 1948, Manchester's status was about to change.
It was this place that once again brought Manchester back on the map. A man named Alan Turing, who studied at the university, was the first man to invent a storage computer. At this time, Manchester's popularity was decreasing, and this invention made Manchester a leading city in terms of science and development.
In the 1950s and 60s, many of the buildings in Manchester were renovated and shopping centers were created. Among these were Manchester Arndale. In recent times, the population has increased, and this has resulted in a shortage of housing.
The solution to this increasing popularity and also therefore the increasing population was to build more buildings that could house more people. And one of the solutions is this building called Beetham Tower, which consists of 47 floors.
The first 23 stories is reserved for the Hilton Hotel, but the last 24 floors is residential. The 2 last floors is reserved for the designer himself.
In addition, many of the mills from the Industrial Revolution were converted to residential property.
Danish cities were also undergoing a transformation during the Industrial Revolution. However, the two countries separate themselves on 2 major aspects. The first is, compared to Manchester, the significance and change in the Danish cities were minor, and second of all, the Danish cities focused on gas rather than coal. Nowadays, Manchester is still dependent on the industry and the jobs it is creating. Therefore, there is many industrial buildings and terraced houses to house the huge amount of factory workers.